Welcome again to the Foster and Williams Show. We're so excited. We're glad to have Cisco back. We're going to tell you about his superhero feats in a minute from last week with the flood. But on today's show, we're going to be talking about the water update. Mike Duggan announced that they're going to give $200,000, I guess, from Ford and some other places to the water shutoffs. We also going to talk about Mike Brown in Ferguson, Missouri. It's reached the president now, so it's reached epidemic proportion. Then we're going to talk about an update to the fire challenges. Charlotte mom was charged because her son set himself on fire and she videotaped. So that's crazy. Then we're going to talk about fast food robots. How do you like if you went to McDonald's, it was only 2 workers? Now, we're going to talk about that. Also, we got some job interview tips. But the question of the week is, how do you cut people out of your life? And wow, at what time, at what point in life do you cut them off? This is the Foster and Williams Show. You can call in at 313-868-3688. Again, that's 313-868-3688. So, Cisco, I know you're getting ready, but tell us about last week and why you weren't at the studio, because you was jumping fences and all kinds of stuff on 8 Mile. We want to hear about that first.
Oh man, now that was real crazy. That experience with the whole flooding and everything. I had to hop over a barbed wire fence. Also, I had to scale the long barbed wire fence just to rescue a couple of people. And it was just crazy. I would never ever forget that. I thought I was gonna drown. If I would have fell, you wouldn't have seen me here today.
Now you said earlier the 13-foot water sign was up, and you was above that. Explain that to the audience.
Yeah, I'm going to get very descriptive.
It was flying.
So this is exactly how it was. Now, it was it was the fact of we were going over a bridge, and Woodward State Fairgrounds area. Now we were going over the train track and the bridge, and the water was up to the 13-foot sign. For the no, you don't have to. But for the 13-foot sign, the water was right at the sign. So I'm like, that's 13 feet of water. I can't even swim in 2 feet of water.
So you jumped over a fence that you couldn't swim 2 feet of water, and it was 13 feet. What possessed you to do that, man?
Man, because yeah, my girlfriend, she was on the other side. But
so that's what he did for love. Now, ladies, if you listening, now listen, I'm just gonna be honest with you. I'm not scaling no fence 13 feet or whatever. I don't care how much love is. I'm just gonna you just gonna have to drown, baby, because I'm not jumping over no 14 feet of water. Now, I know you can't answer this question, Henry, because you married. But Cisco, that's that young love right there. He said he scaled a barbed wire fence. Did you have some gloves on?
Man, I had to throw my shirt over it.
He threw his shirt over the barbed wire fence. Now, that's like out of the Titanic. So maybe the Foster and Williams show should come out with the Cisco movie, In the Flood. You know, what love's got to do with it.
But you know, if she would have did that this week, I wouldn't have did it because me and her don't talk no more. So I just
hold on. Rewind. Now, Cisco is telling us that him and his female that he went 13 feet for don't talk no more.
She was unappreciative.
She was unappreciative. He didn't get no cake, no Skittles, no nothing. So, but that goes back. We're gonna talk about women not cooking on the show 2 weeks from now. So I don't know what's going on with the phone. It's beeping or something. Something's happening. You
can chime on in. Call in.
You can call on in. 313-868-3688. Again, that's 313-868-3688. Now, we're going to the first story. The first story is your buddy, Mike Duggan. He took over the water department a couple of weeks ago, and so he came out with this 10-point plan. Now, let me just give you some rundown real quick for the Detroiters out there. 17,000 people have had their water shut off since March, right? They say that it's 43 million out of 80,000 residential customers, but the total debt is 89 million, right? So that means that commercial customers owe 46 million.
That's what it sounds like to me.
And so Ford and some other companies, and I'm thankful for that, put 200,000 in the pot.
I am not thankful for that.
And so some of the solutions that they came up with to make it better was they're going to have longer call center hours, which is good. They said that customers who are already eligible for DTE heat assistance programs will automatically be considered for their water bills and stuff like that. And so I think that's good, Henry, because you're adding to it. But the bottom line is, what are you going to do when people don't have the money to pay? They said half of these people paid, but the bottom line is there's still 50% that's due this money. So we're trying to find out what really should be done. $200,000 is just a drop in the bucket. And the program ends. This is the key part about it. The program to stop the shutoffs expires on August 25th. So Henry, what are people going to do after August 25th?
The situation is being displayed right now that people can do too much of nothing. They don't have the money. Funds are being cut. Are thankful for the jobs and everything else like that, but it's not too many jobs they can actually do to actually pay off any debt after that. So it's not too much that people can do, but the ones that have the money, they can do quite a bit. But we don't know where those funds are. So I'm not too happy about that article right now. Thankful for the $200,000, but that's nearly not enough.
But the whole point is, the only reason that this is getting attention is because people started protesting. If people had just took it, nothing would have happened. So there's already been some movement, but people had to continue. I think a lot of times we get in the beginning of the fight, then we just want to get out of it. And so water is a human right. You got to think about it. Babies are about to go back to school right now. You can't send your kid to school without a shower.
Not at all.
You get what I'm saying? And a bathtub or dehydrated or whatever else you got. Then we're going to talk about the Mike Brown situation. Now, as of today, the autopsy results came out, and they said that Mike Brown, who was unarmed, was shot at least 6 times.
Wow.
6 times, man. So they in Ferguson, Missouri right now. They're still rioting. The governor stopped the curfew, but they sent in the National Guard to stop these people in Ferguson, Missouri. And now he's not the only person, so it brought up a bigger question. Okay. Is the police force in general, is the system set up for failure? We're not talking about individual racist people, but is the system set up that values one life over another? As a black man, we're sitting in this room with 3 black men, and if I asked each one of us, have we ever been stopped or harassed by the police? I remember one time I was pulled over just for walking. So, have you been harassed by the police? The answer would say yes. And so you got to just think about that. We grow up wishing the police would not stop us. And so you shouldn't have to cringe when the police come by and things like that. They brought the issue to Eric Holder, which President Obama had a meeting with them, I guess today, saying that they were going to do a second autopsy result because the autopsy that they came out with was not the same as the one the family came out with. They were trying to hide the number of gunshots. Then report came out just this morning that said that the video they released with Mike Brown with the cigars, right, might not be Mike Brown. With the attorney. So they're trying to make this guy the bad guy in order to say that this is really happening. I mean, I think that's crazy. Again, you can call in at 313-868-3688. Again, that's 313-868-3688. This is the Foster and Williams Show, everyday talk for everyday people. And we're sitting here talking about what's happening in Ferguson, Missouri. And we also want you to call in if you've ever been stopped by the police. I think we got a caller coming in. Henry, hit the button. Caller, you on the air?
Man, what's wrong with that boy doing all that stuff for love?
Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with that boy jumping in trying to save his girlfriend. Now he's not his girlfriend. You got to think about it. She would have been proposing to me. That was the topic for about 3 weeks ago. I mean,
locked in after that.
What? I don't know how you dump her. I mean that's 6 months of grace period or nothing. She should have been making him breakfast in bed, all kinds of stuff. I just don't know. But like I said, Cisco is a hero. So ladies, he's recently single. We're gonna put his picture on our Facebook, and so we're gonna have callers calling in from all over the nation, and he can dance. So if you want to go ballrooming, hustling, and all that, he was a So You Think You Can Dance contestant. Yeah, we're putting it all out here today. Thank you for calling in. But we also talking about when do you cut people out of your life? And so Cisco decided that after you go the extra mile for them and they don't reciprocate, that's when you cut them out of their life. So we want to hear from you on our Facebook. One of the young ladies said you cut people off when they no longer add value to your life. The general response, though, was that you don't even tell them that you're cutting them off. And sometimes I don't agree with that. I think people need to know when they're not of value to you.
Well, I like to speak on that. I've never been a fan of actually officially cutting people out of my personal life. My thing is the way I think, it may be a dishonorable moment that you got, or with that person or with that group at the time, but maybe later on down the life they might mature or something else like that. Kermit, they might be valuable for you then. If they are, and I read what the lady said, some of what she said is when they're taking more from you than giving to you, then it's time to cut. Maybe it's just time to put them to the side because they don't have the same kind of philosophy of giving unto you or whatever else like that. And it doesn't have to be, monetary or something like that. If they're making you look better, if they're keeping you out of trouble, something like that. So, my thing on that, man, is just really look out for them later. I mean, don't spend a lot of time with them if they're bringing you down right now. Pray for them, do whatever you got to do, but maybe they're some good later on.
Well, it's two schools of thought on that. Sometimes elevation only comes with separating. Sometimes you got to separate yourself, and sometimes people in your life are life lessons. And so, even though you don't see the good in them betraying you or not adding value to your life, sometimes they really do teach you how to be a better person. And then the second thing that really helped me tremendously in my life was I learned that I can be a friend to people without them being my friend. Yeah. So as many people that consider me a friend, and I'm not their friend. I mean, I'm their friend, but they're not my friend. So I don't consider them a friend. So when I look at people that I get wisdom from, it's certain people I don't look toward because I know their character, I know their circumstance. You get what I'm saying? But I can still help them. Sometimes some people just need a push into being that friend that you need them to be, but you can't depend on them.
No.
At the end of the day, there used to be the show Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Right. And so when you got a call, you don't call the person that don't know the answer. You don't call the person that's a box of rocks. You call the person that you think is going to give you the best chance to win that $1 million. And so in life, sometimes you got to make sure and look at your phone, but you got to also purge too. Sometimes you got to purge people because some people grow up and some people just grow old.
True.
And so it's not that they don't have value, but sometimes friends just have different interests and different hobbies. So that's important, especially in your business climate, because a lot of people will tell you, show me your friends and I can show you your life. Because if you're hanging around people that's doing nothing, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be doing nothing.
I agree with all that. I feel the same way about that. And also, when you selecting a friend, before it even gets to this point, friends are friends for certain reasons. We may not be able to, officially say that to everybody or say that to the person you're trying to be a friend to. Sometimes, man, you have to know what people can do for you at that time before you can actually label them as friends. If they can't do anything for you, if they're, then maybe they're just some kind of email buddy or some kind of text buddy or something like that. Somebody you just said, hey, every now and again. Don't label them as your friend, because if you begin to label that person as your friend, you begin to put, your heart into whoever that person is, so, be careful with that, and that way you won't have this, kind of problem looking for them to reciprocate what you gave out. And then sometimes they could become a friend, in my opinion, and they cannot reciprocate in the same way that you desire for them to reciprocate whatever it is that you need. So you got to be careful with that too. Sometimes it may be you, in my opinion, that you're wanting something from a person that can't give it to you, and you're putting that expectation on them. So, make sure you're mindful of that, man. So that's my opinion.
I think that's a key point, man. I mean, a lot of people are acquaintances and not friends. Yeah. And I think that some people just assume that somebody's your friend, but in order to have friends, you got to show yourself friendly. So that means you got to put yourself out there even when people smack your hand. So we're going to be talking about the fire challenge in just a second. It's so crazy. This lady got charged. This is the Foster and Williams Show. We want to thank our sponsors, especially give a shout out to Chandrika Simmons and Simmons Legal. Her grand opening is going to be the 27th of this week, September, 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. at 77 Bagley in Pontiac, Michigan, 48341. Again, that grand opening is going to be September 27th, 3 p.m., 3 to 8 p.m. at 77 Bagley in Pontiac, Michigan. Foster and Williams will be there in attendance there, eating the chips and the hot dogs, especially the cookies. I know I'm not supposed to say cookies. Please don't slap my hand. But, yeah, I'll be eating the cookies. Also, we want to thank our sponsor, Ebony Layouts. I know you guys have went to the Facebook page and seen our awesome Facebook banner. She's doing a Facebook banner special for all of the Foster and Williams listeners. So if you let them know that you are a listener to the show, there is a special for you. And for more information, you can call 248-812-9126. Again, that's 248-812-9126. Or just be a friend to Ebony Layouts on Facebook.com. And we got 2 more sponsors we're going to talk about in a second, but I got to talk about this fire challenge. I've been burning up all week about this. Now, Cisco, I don't know if you heard this. In Charlotte, North Carolina, this lady was arrested and charged because she let her son put, hold on, I want to make sure they got this right, nail polish remover all on his chest, light himself on fire. He ended up in the hospital with minor burns to his chest and his cheeks. So the fire got all the way up to his cheeks. So he burned himself. I hope he didn't burn his
cotton shorts on.
Messed up. But listen, why would you set nail polish remover on your chest? But anyway, the mama videotaped. That's child abuse. So the courts arrested her because she allowed her son and then posted it.
That's one thing that messed up that you posted.
Allegedly, because we don't have any lawyers for the Foster and Williams show, so she finds out that she's not found guilty. I don't want WHPR 88.1 to get sued, so I want to make sure we say allegedly. But according to the report, why would you sit there and say, baby, why don't you burn yourself up? That's your mama. That's the adult there. You got to think about it. Your mama's always supposed to wish the best for you, right? Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so at what point did the mama say that it's okay for her 16-year-old son to burn his chest? Now, when I first read the story, I said, why is the mama charged? He's 16, he should know what to do. But when I realized, when I realized that the mama videotaped, I said not only should she smack herself, she should be arrested because that's so ridiculous. Why? Because if you're 16 and you got a mama like that, you don't know right from wrong. Because if your mama's sitting there watching you in the tub, first of all, after you get the age of 12, there's no reason for you and your mama to be in the bathroom together. I'm just going to put that out there. Bath time is over. So there's no reason in any situation for you and your mama to be in the bathtub. At 16, your mama not cutting your hair no more. I hope not. I hope she's not giving you a chili bowl. So what I'm saying is, how can you let that happen?
I have no answer for that, man. It's just crazy.
Where's his dad at? I don't know. Clearly, he left this woman because she was letting her kids burn themselves up. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. But he needs to be smacked, too, because he went half on the baby, so he needs responsibility, too. I think they should both be charged for letting your son be in the presence of a woman who will videotape, and then afterwards, hold on. This is the crazy part about the story. After they got finished, the boy posted a video on Facebook talking about, you should not set yourself on fire.
Of course
the
not.
fire challenge is not a good idea.
No, it was a good idea at that time.
That's because that taco meat on your chest got seared off. What I'm saying is, when you're 16 years old, you should know better. When I hear stories of 12-year-olds, 11-year-olds, I say, okay, they didn't know better.
Right.
But when you're 16 and you and your mama come up with a concoction to say, because think about it, at 16, as a man, you don't even have nail polish remover, so you got to get it from her.
True.
It's her nail polish remover.
Wow.
This wasn't alcohol he put on his chest.
No.
This wasn't peroxide that he put on his chest. This wasn't shaving cream that he put on his chest. This is your mama nail polish remover. So she gave you the ammunition to light your chest on fire. She probably gave him the lighter, too.
Probably told him to do it.
Probably told him to do it, Cisco. Got your chest smelling like Slim Jim. That's not right. And so what I'm saying is, I just want to say this because every time I hear something stupid, I just think it's imperative that the Foster and Williams show make sure that we bring it up, that there is consequences to your dumb actions. So this woman got arrested because she was trying so hard to get her son to be famous. She didn't light herself on fire with him. And so I wonder when he lit his chest on fire, did she give him the famous mama statement? This is going to hurt me more than it's going to hurt you. Because truly it did. He lit his chest on fire. Again, this is the Foster and Williams Show. We're here every Monday from 8 to 9 p.m. on WHPR 88.1. You can call in at 313-868-3688. Again, that's 313-868-3688. Today we're talking about when it's all right to cut somebody off. And so it brings us to our next story. Now, you know, D15 in Detroit, Highland Park everywhere was fighting for the minimum wage. And the Republican legislator at the time decided that we don't want that on the ballot because it's going to pass. And we don't want to pay these people $15. So what they did was they changed the law to make it $9.25 by 2018. Now, if the law had passed, it would have been $15 immediately, right?
Right.
So since they changed the law by 18, I think they're going to get up to maybe $8 by next year or whatever, right? So they're going to get back to $8 by next year for the fast food workers and all the minimum wage workers, right? This guy named Ken Brown, and I want everybody to go to this article in M-Line because I couldn't believe it. When Henry brought it to me, I couldn't even believe this article. It says that if you keep protesting, you're going to be replaced by fast food robots. Now tell me about the fast food robots, Henry. What are they going to be able to do?
Man, I looked at the article, and I like to say I love looking in business, all kind of little corrupted business, and see what's going on, what's going right, what's going wrong. I looked at the article and. This I first like to say that these robots had to have been planned a long time ago. I mean, they planned on replacing people. This is what it looks like to me, and I'm all for business, making money, things like that. But it looks like it's going to replace people. These robots are going to be able to run the entire restaurant, one restaurant, let's say a McDonald's or something like that, with two high-tech workers. That what that means is engineer, Cisco, Kermit, and an IT worker. The engineer and IT worker can work this whole thing, and the robots are going to do the rest of the work. That means the burgers will be made by robots, and two dudes or two women, however you want to say it, are running the rest of them, make sure the robots are running still.
Yeah, it's going to be
cutting out all the jobs.
Cutting out all the jobs. So you're not going to be able to go after school to go work at McDonald's.
Or pay for your water.
Pay for your water or anything else, because the bottom line is it will be two people putting your order together. You know how you got the touch screens now where you can touch and order, say you want this, and you can order online when you go to order pizza and things? Well, you're going to be able to do that at Mickey D's. So it's just going to be kiosks at the beginning of the Mickey D's where you punch the button and you tell them what you want. You say, I want a McDouble with no cheese, and you're going to be pushing it. And so that $7.40 that somebody was getting is going to be replaced by a robot.
I don't even think it's going to go there. I don't even think the engineer and the IT going to have to do that much work because, they'll be able to, once they push that button, they probably have some presets. These robots, man, they're making them like, $500,000, $1 million robots. So you liable to be able to just push a button, and the engineers just make sure that the robot don't get fried.
Right, make sure that it's got enough grease in it. Slide some oil to me. So that's what's going to be happening. And so the guy in the argument, now clearly, I just want to tell y'all, the guy who wrote this article used to work for, the guy's name is Ken Brown. So I want y'all to call Ken Brown. Because he was in M Live. So this guy was a legislative aide for a Republican lawmaker in the Michigan House and worked at the Mackinac Center for Public Policy. So I want to let you know how these people are thinking. So because you asked for more money, because you said, guess what, I can't get live with $7.45.
Because prices is going up.
Just
you asking for more, so you're going to get penalized.
You're going to get penalized just because you say, hold the pickle, hold the fries, I want my wages supersized. They going to say, I'm going to replace you with a robot. Now, it's already happened at GM, but if you make it happen faster, then we're going to replace you. So they say work for these slave wages because we got a robot ready to do what you can do.
Wait a minute. Let me from a business standpoint, from a career standpoint, I come from business and finance and things like that. What Kermit just said was it started off with the robots that were built to build the cars. That's why the wages went down from $30, $40 an hour back in the day, you know, from the GM on the line, you know, kind of jobs down to $15, $16, maybe $14 now. That's what it cut out a lot of workers. That's what he's saying is when they add these robots to the fast food restaurant, there's no more minimum wage. There's no more just getting a high school diploma and going out and get a job and try to work for your family. That's what he's saying.
But think about it. See, the problem is convenience is always the key. Because remember, we used to didn't have a little self-checkout, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now people go to the self-checkout all the time. They only open up 2 lines. How does Myers have, that Cisco was hanging out trying to jump barbed wire fences for, but how does Myers have 15 checkout lanes, right? Only 2 people working and then 1 person working at the security end with the self-checkout. Losing people's jobs all the time. If people refuse to go to the self-checkouts, guess what? I don't want to pay you to bag my own groceries. My first job, my first official job was at Myers as a bagger. Now you don't have baggers because you got to bag it yourself. I'm not getting it no cheaper because you bagging it. Listen, them chips didn't go down by 25%. So you telling me I got to bag it? I got to pay the same price if I bag it myself or if I have somebody else bag it. So why would I want to bag? But guess what? Because people get used to it. People go there first now, and they don't realize that they're taking somebody else's job.
And that's what I wanted to also say. We are allowing I love innovation, but, you know, and I really want to put this out there, man. We got to be careful with innovation and how much we don't want to do for ourselves anymore. I mean, before my time, I mean, everything was probably grown, the crops and everything else like that. We got to be careful. When I read this article, I said, man, we're moving into a very harsh time for a lot of people within the next 20, 30 years because we are allowing, you know, business people, politics type of people come in and just kind of, you know, give us a free convenience type of thing and not knowing that we are actually shortchanging ourselves 20 and 30 years from now and wondering how we're going to be able to take care of our family, man. They're not caring about the water. They're not caring about cutting back people water on or anything else like that, man. So we got to be careful. You know, are we forfeiting our children's future for a job to be able to take care of themselves, grandchildren, whatever you want to call it? Our grandma. We're going to talk about another topic in a minute, but you know they're cutting out who they want to cut out. So we got to be careful.
Yeah, they're cutting it out, and people don't even know it because think about it. You can go to Chipotle right now, and if you go to the drink machine, right, you can push the little button, and it can tell you if you want Sprite, cherry Sprite, and all of that stuff, right? All they doing is testing out the technology now because all they're going to do is shift it over now. So now the lady that was sitting at the counter, right, been working there 12 years, right? Now think about it. McDonald's is one of the biggest employers of previously incarcerated. So people who have felonies and things like that, they can get a second chance at McDonald's. It's dignity in work. Yeah. So that brother might be able to wash dishes at McDonald's right now. They got him back there slaving on the grill, getting popped with grease. But he's making an honest wage and an honest living. They're going to replace that brother with a machine. And guess what? There's going to be a portion of us that say if we can get that burger for 75 cents instead of $1.25, we're going to get that 75-cent burger because I don't care if that brother eating.
Well, you know, and some people might be thinking about that, but some people, a lot of us are not thinking like that, though, Kermit. They thinking about that cheaper price, saving more buck for their kids' college fund or something like that, or getting them to their career and everything else. They're not thinking that, you know, along down the line, if I keep shopping for convenience or having convenience, that, you know, a lot of people going to get cut out.
Yeah, but
they're not thinking that way.
But people don't realize that buying power, especially African American buying power, is like the third richest commodity. We will make up a third economy of the world because all of our income is disposable right now because we don't own much.
Wow. Yep.
So as soon as we make something, that money is going right out. And so when you cut out people from working at the fast food market, think about it. If there was not minimum wage workers, Northland would be closed right now.
Right.
See, the people don't want to talk about that. We the major ones that's out there in Somerset, even though they don't want us out there. We spend money where they don't want us to spend money.
Trying to move us in all different sections. Just put us in the corner.
But that's what happens. We go out to Somerset and say, oh, yeah, we're going to get that. So we'll go to Nordstrom and pay full price, but the people that we live in trying to be like, they're going to Nordstrom Rack.
Yeah.
They saving money. But instead, it's a value in us saying we want to pay full price.
$300 G.
But you know what that comes
$5
from,
G,
right?
man.
Mr. T said it this way. He put all of his money in jewelry, right? And that gold chain. That's where we remember Mr. T from, right? You
Yeah.
remember Mr. T?
Yeah.
That might be before your time,
No,
Cisco.
I
You ain't
remember
got that
Mr.
facial hair. So, but Mr. T had all that gold jewelry, right?
Uh-huh.
Because he didn't trust banks. And so he knew that gold wouldn't lose value. So he put all his money on his neck.
Slick Rick did the same thing.
He put
Sure
all
did.
he
Sure
put all
did.
his money
Slick
on
Rick
his
did
neck
that.
because and so that mentality is still with us. And so a lot of people don't realize that African Americans are either I think it's a study said that we were either 55% or 60% unbanked or underbanked. So we don't even use these financial institutions that we pay for. Think about it. I will never forget when I ran for office the first time. It was a guy, one of the store owners in our community, right? He said, "Well, I want to meet with you because I want to donate some money to your campaign." I said, "No, I don't take any money from people who do liquor and all of this stuff, right?" So we had a whole big argument. He said, "You know, money is money, right?" So he left. He left, right? And I think it was like a Trailblazer or something, right? Came back, said, "Meet me out here in Bloomfield." Went to Bloomfield, and he was in a Ferrari.
See?
Off of us.
See?
Switching cars. And he said, so it just shows you that we got the money. But depending on if we put it together, and so think about it. In Ferguson, Missouri right now, they're rioting, tearing up their own stuff. Tearing up their own community. It's going to be like that forever. Now think about it. None of their cops are African American.
None.
None of their city council people are African American. Their mayor is not African American. So they control nothing politically, but they make up 60% of the population. I'm talking about African Americans. And so when something happens like that, now it's an issue. Now we got people from all over the country, and this is the sad part. And I saw a sign that said, "I'm one bullet away from being a hashtag," which is true. But all those things come with passion fads. But what are you going to do positive to make sure that you got some kind of influence in the future that's going to make it different?
Need some good topics. Yeah, I need to call in.
That's the question. But people are not excited about that.
No.
But if I told you, I can tell you how to get 50% off your weed, people would call in.
That's right.
They would call in right now. The phones would be lining up. Why? Because they put a value on that. Because people can see that.
Man.
You got to think about it. People don't worry about putting money in and paying off houses. Why? Because you really can't see that house. But I'm going to make sure. I was in the Dream Cruise. The guy had a decked out car, right?
Mm-hmm.
Decked out car. Police end up having to push him. Why? Because the rims cost more than the engine he put on it. What I'm saying is it's focused on the wrong priorities. I'm not hating on anybody that's doing well. I'm just saying that with that kind of buying power, we could do whatever we wanted. There's so many millions and billions of dollars right here in southeastern Michigan, just on the I-75 corridor. Pontiac, Flint, Highland Park, Benton Harbor, E-Course, all Southfield, all of these places that if we decided that we wanted to put our money together for anything, it could be done right now.
Right.
But instead, people say, "Well, guess what? I don't care as long as I got my retirement, then I'm all right." Well, you might not have your retirement because this next story we're talking about is Michigan seniors getting their pension tax. I don't know if you guys have forgot. The article in M Live is talking about, is the tax on senior pensions fair? Now, the crazy part about it is these are public pensions. Private pensions are protected up until $92,000. So people who worked in the public sector, the DPW departments, the people who made the street signs, people who made the street lights, those seniors are not taxed, and they paid tax on it in the first place.
That's crazy, man. That was a sad article that I seen there, man.
Yeah, but people forget about it. We got an election in 2 months, and people not angry. That's the crazy part about it. These people who worked, if you were born after 1952, you paying right now. They said that they're going to make, hold on, I got to find it. This year, off of this tax, they're going to make about $355 million.
Ridiculous amount of money.
$355 million off of grandma. And so I posted something on my page Representative Coleman Young from Detroit did a speech about 3 years ago that said, don't tax grandma. Well, they taxing grandma, and nobody's saying anything about it. It's just like it didn't exist.
As if it's your loved one, your grandma, granddad is not valuable anymore. They're going to take it from them.
Right. This is the Foster and Williams Show. We're here every Monday from 8 to 9 p.m. You can call in at 313-868-3688. Again, that's 313-868-3688. So right now we're going to talk about some job tips.
Yeah.
And so because a lot of people go to a job interview and they really don't know what's going on. So we just want to give you a couple job tips. Henry?
Well, this is only a couple, and here's something that, you know, if you're out there, you're trying to get a career, you've been trying to land a career and everything else like that, just haven't got that kind of ideal job, you don't know what it is that you actually need to say in the interview, why didn't they like you, start off with this book. You can get it on Amazon. It's cheap. It's $15. I seen it just today. You know, you can get it on Amazon. The Complete Idiot's Guide to a Perfect Resume. It's written by a lady called Susan Ireland. Susan Ireland is the Complete Idiot's Guide to a Perfect Resume. This book, I read it a few years ago before I actually went full time into to business, and it kind of gave some points, Kermit, man, where you can, you know, kind of use all kind of things that you experience. Even if you did chores at home, you could use those on your resume. Even if you don't have any experience to try to land that job, you can use those things you've done at home to kind of put it on your resume to make it kind of look good. But let's get on to the tips. One of the things that you want to do when you go into an interview, you know, personally, I don't go in asking for what is the job paying. I mean, you know, you can kind of research on salary.com what a job kind of pays. The reason why I did it like that, so I can land the job, because I wanted to basically make sure people, the interviewer knew that I was interested more in the job or just the pay. That's a tip to kind of basically make you.
So I shouldn't go into the job saying I want $27 an hour.
Not at all. No, go in with that mentality. And that was one of my last tips. If you're going to go in looking for the salary, make the salary last. But you make sure you put your value on yourself with that salary, but be more interested in what the job is before you actually ask for the money. So yeah, at all times, you know, make sure you know what you're getting into as far as pay, because you don't want to do something that, you know, is not going to help you out. The other thing is, I always practice body chemistry all the time. Of course, that includes smiling. If you're smiling and your body is not kind of, you know, dealing with your smile, you know, people think, you know, looks right through that and they think that you're not interested. That doesn't mean that you're not interested. It just shows that you're not interested in the job.
Now, Henry. Some people just wake up in the morning looking like somebody bit them. What do those people do when they don't have a natural smile? I mean, some people just look unhappy. I mean, Cat Williams say you look like you gang banging on bacon. How do you change that for the job interview?
I learned this little point from people that's taught to train me in sales for years. Whatever kind of music that makes you hyper, gets you smiling, and whatever else, like if you listen to look at a poem or some kind of sign or something you written down, look at it 30 times, do whatever you have to do before you go into there so that you can keep that smile, keep it in your mind as you're actually interviewing, and this will keep you engaged into the conversation with the interviewer and also keep you smiling, you know. So you know that use something that you know that's going to make you smile, and you know, just believe, hey, I'm gonna land this job, and that'll keep you smiling while you're going in there.
All right.
One of the other tips is let me see, I'm gonna give you that so we can go ahead and move on. Research the company. Now, traditionally, we always research companies enough to, or the day before, to understand that job or understand that corporation, just in case they have, you know, some questions about the corporation that you're interviewing for. One of the things that I did was not only did I research that company that I was interviewing for, Kermit, but I interviewed the competitors around. This shows to the employer that not only that you are going to pay attention to what they have going on, but that you're going to be a part of them being a competitive edge against their employer. So that's just a few little tips. Go get that book. Get with us on Facebook or whatever else like that, and we can give you some more tips later. But there's plenty of things that you could do, and you can land that job. Also, you know what? I'm gonna give you one thing: follow through. Follow through all the time. Even if you thought you lost the interview, call back in. Do whatever you got to do to check on it. Maybe that person lost the opportunity after getting hired before you. Follow through after you interview. That's my thing.
Follow through. Now, how should they follow through? That sounds simple. Do they need to call back up to the job? Do they need to email them? What do they do?
Well, let's do it like this. I'm a fan of networking. I'm a fan of knowing people. Sometimes you can get in by a referral. So get to know some of the people that are already actually working there. Get to know some of the people that are actually working there. Get to know the boss. Of course, you can call back. Don't be obnoxious calling back, several times a week. But get some kind of connection that's in there, so just in case you can maybe you have to get a smaller paying position, accept that maybe later on if they put that on the job posting board at that place there and get in that way. But do whatever you have to do to follow through. Get a smaller position, know somebody there, get to know the boss, secretary, somebody. Somehow you can get in there.
All right. Now we've got, and I don't know if Henry knows this, but we got our first hiree from our partnership with JobLink. And so I told you every Friday at 8:30 at 1850 North Perry Street in Pontiac, Michigan, they have a job fair. So we sent a guy from the Foster and Williams show. He actually got a call for a job. So this show is working. That's one of our major goals. We want to make sure that every week that we're on the air, we're trying to get somebody hired.
At least one.
We're doing our small part to stop the unemployment crisis. Now, if you want to be a part of that, you can call in the job links 248-276-1777. Again, that's 248-276-1777, and they do this every Friday. But you have to tell them that the Foster and Williams show sent you. So if you're watching this by way of by way of streaming, or if you are listening in, or you got the app on your phone, or you're watching somewhere else, make sure you tell them that you called in because of the Foster and Williams show. We don't get paid by JobLink or anything, but we think as a service to the community, we have to make sure that people get a job, because you can't talk about people getting hired if you're not going to help them.
Pretty much.
A lot of people say, well, you need to get up and get a job. Pull your pants up, young whippersnapper. Well, if you ain't giving them an opportunity, there's no reason to put my pants on. I might as well keep my pajamas on all day if it's not a job waiting for me.
Right.
So the next story is so crazy. I had to check it about 3 or 4 times to make sure it was real.
Man.
A baby girl got killed after a New York cop allegedly ordered the mom to stop breastfeeding.
This guy, ridiculous, man. I mean, I'm not all against, good cops, man. I read the story, man, and it was just so sad to me that, who enforces a law, if it even, I didn't even know it was a law that you couldn't breastfeed in public. What person in their right mind would try to enforce a law that, women been doing for, decades, man?
It's natural. That's what the breast was created for. Exactly. I don't understand, sir. How can you stop this lady for breastfeeding? Hold on. This is what happened. So let me tell for the listeners and the viewers out there. It was a New York cop. It was a lady waiting on a bus. Her child got hungry. The police officer, she pulled out the breast, and the baby started eating.
And she was halfway veiled.
She was halfway veiled. The police officer said, "Stop breastfeeding." She said that there's no law against breastfeeding, right? Okay, the bus came. She stood up.
She ignoring this guy.
First she ignored the police, but then she stood up. Then her breast was out, right? Breast was out. She cinched it up. Went to get on the bus. The man yelled at her to stop.
Mm-hmm.
Getting on the bus, right? Grabbed her by the collar of her shirt. She dropped the baby. The baby cracked his head and died.
Cracked his head and died. They tried to revive the baby, man. I was so disappointed. Baby died, man. I mean, the baby couldn't have been no more than a few months old, man.
Out of all the world's ills, a baby dies because a cop can't let go of breastfeeding. He still handcuffed the mama. The mother didn't go to the hospital and see the baby while it was dying.
Yeah, because she cuffed up.
She's cuffed up because of breastfeeding. Are you serious?
Just too
They didn't
much
say
pride,
the woman
man.
got belligerent. That's when absolute power corrupts absolutely. It's not,
She tried to ignore the guy
think
the
about it.
whole time. She just tried to get on the bus, man.
Just trying to get on the bus. Had a long day trying to get on the bus, and this cop decided that I'm gonna take my job so seriously that you're gonna listen to me.
Are you gonna do what I say do?
You're gonna do what I say do.
Because I got a badge.
I got a badge, and now she ain't got no baby because she was trying to breastfeed.
Because you got a badge.
Because you got a badge. And so now I think the guy, let me make sure I got it right. And they got the guy's name in here, but I'm not going to release it because I don't want him getting any hate mail. But he's on paid leave. I don't understand how these guys get on paid leave if the baby cracked his head. Like, I don't understand. This should be unpaid leave. He's on paid leave pending a full investigation by the New York City Police. I know y'all been hearing his phone go off in the background. That's Cisco because we said he was single. Now his phone is blowing up already. I'm sorry we said that, Cisco. We got to tell him next time we'll have you a lady. Now the next one we want to talk about before we get done with today's show. There was an article, I guess it was a spoof or whatever, but it got almost 200, about 1,500 hits on our Facebook page. Now, mind you, you need to be liking our Facebook page. Go to the Foster and Williams Show on Facebook. Like the page. We got 129 hits. We're trying to get to 200 real quickly. It's an awesome site. But it was an Allen Iverson story, and they said that he was begging for change outside of Atlanta Lenox Mall. So, we guess the story is not real.
Couldn't be.
But
I hope it's not.
But what was brought out by it was he's had so much financial trouble, and he's got a $30 million trust, but he can't touch it until
55 years old.
Yeah, until he gets 55 years old. So he's got about 20 years until he can get this money that's set up for him in his trust. So, I mean that's crazy. What are your thoughts on his money management? First of all.
Well, I think a lot of people that get into the league, man, they have all the opportunity in the world, all the money and everything else like that, but no money management skills and things like that. So they get out there and they just get thrown out there, man, and have no financial plan, no investment plans and things like that. No one's taught them basically how to deal with money and deal with pressure of people spending money for them. So. It's unfortunate that he doesn't have that, and he kind of just, splurs a little bit. I don't know if the article is true. I don't really think it's, fully true, but I do think he had some issues that, he probably should, fix up.
Well, they said in 2012 he had all kinds of money issue, but over his career, guess how much he made? $154.5 million.
Wow.
And now it's gone. Yeah, they said online that he's doing some charity tour in Manila right now, trying to drum up some support and some fans and some other things. But think about that. How does $155 million go through your hand and you have nothing to show for it? All that career. I mean, everybody had a pair of Allen Iversons, the questions or whatever. I mean, think about it. But he didn't get the same treatment that other NBA stars got. Charles Barkley they put on there, Chris Webber they put on there. But and I wonder if it's because Allen Iverson was one of the bad boys of the league. Because he had braids, because he talked about practice.
I was thinking about the same thing,
one of the first guys that had tattoos, because the league is always going to take care of Grant Hill.
Yeah.
It's always going to take care of the ones that they love. I mean, think about it. Even Mateen Cleaves got a show. And I love Mateen Cleaves, but as far as basketball greatness and what they were able to accomplish in the NBA, Allen Iverson is head and shoulders above. He went. I mean, even Mutombo got commercials.
So did.
No. I mean, Allen got nothing out of the deal. And so what that says is a bigger picture, though. If you are working in a job, you can't act like that job is going to last forever. And the impression that you have, even if you're the most talented in your sport, there's always people that might be less talented than you but have a better attitude that's going to survive. I think the rapper T.I. said something that talent with no work ethic will always be surpassed by no talent and work ethic.
And I was gonna say something to that, man. But what he's saying, and I don't know if that's what he fully means, but here's the thing. for me, if you don't have a system when you get quantities of money, I call it capital, it's written as capital, stuff like that. If you have no system for the money to be regenerated, Kermit, when you spend it, it's going to be gone. It's a preacher that I listen to, Dr. Mike Murdoch. He says it like this: anything that's not protected, you won't have it.
Well, I mean,
period. So you got to have.
You said anything that's
not protected, not
protected,
you won't have it.
Yeah, I mean, but I think that in Allen Iverson's case, it's two parts. First, you got people that's not managing your money correctly, wrong, and then you don't have wise people around. The Hammer syndrome. Hammer was trying to help people, but he had 200, 300 people. He tried to uplift his whole community. He had them paid just to take his jacket off, and so he was taking these people on tour and all of that. And so Hammer don't hurt him, don't hurt Hammer. Where was all these people when Hammer got on his knuckles and they was repossessing his cars and everything else? Had his brother out here pumps in the bumps.
Right, but here's my thing. I don't think no one, and I could be wrong, you couldn't have had all that money and couldn't sit down and begin to learn how to manage your own money. Even if you don't have somebody, managing your money right, the managers that you do have at that time, you could take some time off, do something, and learn some kind of financial, some kind of accounting skills to look behind what they're doing, because I'm sure they're spending the money for you, along with the bunch of people that's around you trying to spend the money for you. You got to be smart about that. I mean, you making all that money, you can't sit down that one time and get a financial book together, look at a financial statement. I mean, even though Allen had tattoos and braids, he just doesn't pass me as a brother that was so rowdy to the point where he just couldn't sit down one time. So I'm surprised at the story.
But this guy really said, I don't have money to buy a cheeseburger. I mean, this is Allen Iverson. So, I mean, at a point, you've got people that have been splurging your money, and ESPN has an awesome story. Henry, you gotta watch it. It's called 30 for 30 Broke. And it's got all these ex-football players that don't have money anymore because they managed it wrong. And so at the point, people don't realize that half of that money that you start with goes to taxes. I mean, there's two people that's undefeated, God and the IRS. Listen, they're not going to lose. Ask Wesley Snipes at the top of his career. So
he just bullheaded. He was bullheaded.
What I'm saying is people don't look at it that way. And so I'm not picking on Allen Iverson, but I mean, that's a cautionary tale to everybody that depending on how you work while you work there, your talent is not always going to be able to take you where you need to go. I don't care how talented you could be a singer, you could be a musician, whatever you are. Eventually, it's got to be some more intangibles in order to get you over that hump. It's not always the most talented people that succeed, but it's the person that works the hardest consistently and has a plan. A lot of people don't sit down and have a vision. This is the Foster and Williams Show. You can call in at 313-868-3688. Again, that's 313-868-3688. We're about to get out of here in a couple of minutes, but we want to thank our official transportation sponsor, Metro DT Ride. And if you need to go to the airport, hotel, casino, Diamonds Transport, you can call them at 248-842-5698. Again, that's 248-842-5698. This is the Foster and Williams Show. The number is 313-868-3688. We got a superhero as our producer, Cisco, jumping walls and freights and everything else. We're going to get the true inside story when we go off the air today, because I really want to find out what happened between last week and this week that will have a man jumping walls for a woman, and then he not returning her phone calls now. So I want to find out. I just don't know. I can't see that story, happening in everyday vernacular. But the key thing I really want to talk about before we go is the fact that why do people burn up their own stuff and think that somebody's really going to care about that? If you burn up your couch And you know what I think of? I think of that the Chappelle show where Charlie Murphy, I mean
Right.
not Charlie Murphy, but when Dave Chappelle was acting like
Rick
Rick
James.
James,
Rick James, yeah.
and you know, and he was destroying the couch, you know, but it wasn't his couch, so they had a
It was
reason to
Eddie
be
Murphy's
mad.
couch.
But it was Eddie Murphy couch. But when you mess up your own couch in the sake of rioting, what are you really saying? I mean, think about it. It's good news right now. People are talking about Ferguson and all that. People are acting like, you know, this is the civil rights story of our time right now. But a week later, think about it. In Los Angeles last week, another man got murdered. They're having a protest today. Thousands of people in L.A. right now. He's not getting any attention.
None.
Like that life is not valuable. The question is, what are we really going to do about the system? Are we teaching our kids to be cops right now? To make sure that we know it's somebody that has our values
And that
inside.
care.
Are we
Exactly.
teaching them to be judges, prosecutors? Are we doing that? Because every week we can have this story, and we know people right here in Detroit. We know people in Pontiac. Think about it. We know people that have been beaten by the police.
Yes, sir. We do.
We know people who've been choked out, stumped out. We know it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so people only get angry for a couple minutes. But
And
you
then
don't
it's gone.
don't change the system. I mean, think about it. You got less than 1,000 people that voted in Detroit at 11 o'clock on that Tuesday. It was less than 1,000 people in the primary election. But now you talking about, yeah, let's take a van down to Ferguson.
Making no sense
Let's
to
be
me.
part of the movement because they tear gassing people down there.
That's crazy.
Well, they don't got to tear gas you because you sitting in your own house. All right, I'm gonna get off my soapbox and let Henry give y'all the inspirational minute because my blood is boiling because at a point you see your community get victimized every day, but things don't irritate you. You got to think about it. These cities been under emergency management. People don't have democracy, but people just don't care. And so, but then when somebody gets shot, now it's an issue. Now it's a tragedy. Let's start at the beginning of the
At the
story.
beginning, man.
They have been harassing people the whole time. You don't become a bad cop overnight.
They've been getting away with it. Just
But what
get
I'm
caught.
saying is, who filed a report before then?
Right.
You get what I'm saying? This guy didn't just wild out overnight. So much so that the Tea Party is having a rally right now in defense of this guy.
In defense of the guy. That's a
And
mess.
so when are we going to deal with the bigger situation that it's a system that creates these monsters? I'm done.
Man.
I'm done.
Man.
I'm done preaching.
Man, we would like to thank y'all for tuning in. Always look us up on the web. Call in. You know, might not be a hot topic for you, but your viewpoint might even be good for somebody else to hear. So call in. You know, and I like to leave, you know, everybody with something, you know, every week. You know, but this would be short. You know, for every moment that we look upon in life and every moment that we actually pursue, we have to put something within us or use something within us that's already there to produce something that we never produced, to think about something that we may not have thought. You know, we are all powerful. We're all what I call liberation. I mean, I know the word liberation is a word in a dictionary and things like that, but we're liberation to ourselves, our families, families around us. So, you know, look within. If you don't feel that you have something within you to be powerful, to land a job, to get a career, to make a business, put something within you. Read a sentence a day or something, you know, to make you better so that you can better your situation. This is the Foster and Williams Show. Thank you for tuning in.
Everyday talk for everyday people. Mama, I love you.